Monsieur Magasin. If you are here for the first time, just remember to subscribe. You can also leave your comment and don't hesitate from sharing. So, as I said, the topic of the today's topic is actually why is it so hard to, how can I say it? Why is it so hard for individuals to sustain a long period of time to have that patience? So that's the main topic for today. Make sure that I said that. So that is the main topic for today. And why I decided to have this as the main topic of today is actually because we are always told that we need to develop patience. That's what we are encouraged to have, we as individuals. But you can't, we are humans and we tend to exist like social beings. You are maybe told to embrace someone else. I'm in a noisy place, but I hope individuals are hearing me. So we are told maybe to follow some individuals. Maybe you should be like someone else. You need to do like someone else already done. Maybe you have like your classmates who you went to school together with, and they have gone ahead of you. I don't know whether it's kind of bright. So it's like you are told to have, you can, maybe your performance in the society, let's say on how you have achieved success in your society, people may start comparing you with other colleagues. I believe that's one of the challenge which individuals incur or face for you as a person to develop passion, not to develop passion, but to develop patience. And I decided to come up with this topic after what I've gone through, maybe through business, at the same time through YouTube, which is the platform which I'm building at the moment. What I've undergone through, and also what made me to come up with patience. First of all, you may start up, for instance, let's go to business. In business, in today's society, most people don't trust the whole activity of developing a business. Nobody trusts the process. So, like your parents, you can't explain to them that maybe I need to start a given business. First, you would have to face challenges like, who have you seen started its own business in our local area and became successful? That's the first challenge which you will face. So, and the truth is, more especially from where we came from, majority of us, none or no individual has done some great business from where we come from. Maybe those who try to start any given business, they started and failed. So you can't convince your parents that I'm going to start this business and be successful. That's a great challenge. You can't face your parents and tell them, this is what I trust in, and since this is what I really trust, I'm going to pursue this. You can't convince them. It's very difficult for you as a person to convince your parents if they don't have first any background information about any given business. At the same time, no individual who has come from your area who has been successful in any kind of business. So that is it. So even though you may have a go ahead from your parents, there is another challenge which you may face. This is the challenge of maybe your colleagues. Your colleagues may go and get employed, then they will be automatically, there are high chances that they will be automatically ahead of you. That's for sure. There are high chances that they will be automatically ahead of you. So if they are ahead of you, then it will be very difficult for you to be kind of stagnated. at one place and make peace with yourself that you are going to do a given business which you have already started, and trust the process without maneuvering in any given area. It's a big challenge for you as an individual to trust yourself that this this is what I've decided to follow, this is what I've decided to pursue, and whichever is going to come, for better or worse, as Eminem says, for better or worse, I'm going to stick to this one activity. At the same time, you are seeing how your colleagues are maybe buying cars, building houses, and maybe marrying another. This for you, it even becomes so difficult to settle down and keep a good relationship, because it's not all individuals who can understand you. For instance, if you are starting a business in its earlier stages, it's so difficult. You may end up living below your means, you may end up saving a lot, you may end up denying yourself luxuries, or maybe some things which will make comfortable, like good clothes, good shoes. You may end up buying things which are not necessary. So if you happen to be in a relationship, your colleague can't understand you that maybe you are trying to save in order to sustain the business. That's none of his business actually. So it becomes so difficult for you to run a business. At the same time, you are seeing your colleagues are more successful than you are. Is kind of a challenge. So that's why I say, actually, running a business is not something which is very easy, and that's why when you are encouraged to have patience, to develop patience, it's kind of an illusion. It becomes more difficult for you as a person to do what? To trust yourself that this thing which you are doing is something which is necessary, is something which you are supposed to pursue, is something which, if the chances are going to be, if the business is going to be more successful, then the fruits which are going to come out of this business will be enjoyable. Also, what I'm going to say, why it becomes so difficult for individuals to develop kind of patience, to develop kind of, to be at peace with themselves, is this whole idea of time. You know, a society has set time in such a manner that at the age of maybe 14 years old, you should be class 8, or 12 years old, you should be class 8. At the age of 18, you should be out of Form 4. At the age of maybe 22, 23, 24, such things, you should be out of the university. Maybe at the age of 25, for ladies, you should be married. That's the time frame which the society has put in place. So for you as a business person, somebody who is pursuing your own dreams, somebody who wants to do something great with your life, it becomes really so difficult for you to go and immerse yourself in your own activities, in your own dreams, and go after what you want. It's something which is very difficult. It's not easy for you to go, let's say it's going like against the grain, going against the norms of the society. It's so difficult, you as a person, to do something against maturity. Even though this something is not something which is bad, it's something which is right, you are doing it for the good of yourself as a person, to fulfill your own spiritual requirements. It's kind of, you are chasing after a given dream which no individual understands that dream. You yourself, you kind of have that guard, that feeling that this is something which I have to do, but because of the outside pressure, you end up feeling kind of lost, not aware of what you are doing. So that's also one of the challenges which you are going to face Because, for instance, for women, you may find that maybe your colleagues, all of them are married. So if your colleagues are married, then you have a lot of pressure. You have a lot of pressure because maybe they have families. They are having their husbands who is taking care of them. But you, as an individual, it becomes really difficult because the society believes, of which there is a lot of debate in it, which needs to be done. The society believes that, okay, by the age of maybe 25, you as a woman, you as a girl, you should be married, you should have kids, you should be nurturing your own family. So it becomes a really difficult challenge for you as an individual, for you as a person, to sustain that pressure. And this is actually how then becoming patient, becoming at peace with yourself becomes so difficult. Another challenge which I believe is so difficult we face as individuals that hinders us from maybe pursuing our own dreams, chasing our own dreams, is this whole idea of the future is not guaranteed. You can't guarantee what's going to happen in the future. For instance, you can start a business and within a short period of time you have built something big, but you can come to zero. So how can you as a person, are you built strong enough to sustain the pressure? Are you built strong enough to start from zero? Are you built strong enough to tell the society that go and do your own thing, do your own stuff, I'm going to build it again? So we are not actually equipped to that extent that we can accommodate, or we can which term am I going to use? We can actually take the losses and begin building from zero again. We are not built into that extent. It's so difficult, it's so hard for an individual to build something to a big kind of, to build a thing from zero to higher levels, and then that thing collapses from the 50th floor, 60th floor, 20th floor to zero and begin again. A few individuals are the one who can do that. It's not for every individual, it's not for every person. Having patience is then something which is kind of hard to be cons- conceptualized by most of us. Even that's the reason why having patience is not something which most of us can accommodate. Another thing which I believe can discourage us from going that level of being patient, even though things are not working in our side, is this whole idea of we need cash, we need capital. You as a person, you have your own basic needs which you are supposed to satisfy. For instance, you may end up needing rent, you may end up needing maybe transport, food, you also need your own clothing. Maybe you need to support your younger siblings or maybe parents. So these things cannot allow you as an individual to develop patience. You need to have a thick skin. You need to develop that gangster mindset that whichever is going to come, I'm ready for it. So that's a big, big obstacle which can prevent you from developing patience. I believe that's a great challenge which can hinder you from building patience, from cultivating patience, from ignoring the fake noises, the fakey, the fake truths which individuals try to instill on you, which individuals tries to put on you, which may discourage you from developing patience. So now I need to kind of give a brief, a brief what, a brief story about how it's hard to actually trust the process. It's so difficult. It's so hard for you as a person to develop patience. It's very hard. So it's from what I've learned through doing business. I didn't know if I was passionate, but I can trust that from a younger age, I was kind of somebody who is of more lean towards entrepreneurship, because I can see that we used to plant some crops back at home and maybe give our mom to go and sell on behalf of us or on behalf of me as an individual. I used also to plant kinds like bananas, which an individual could come to our home and we could sell, and I would be given the money. So entrepreneurship is something which I can say I grew up knowing it, but I was not aware of it. Maybe I've used the right term. I can say that entrepreneurship is something which I grew up knowing it, but I was not aware of it. So I came then started doing some business back here. But before I joined university, I had a privilege to start kind of a small business back at home. We sold kind of watermelon and cabbages, but it was kind of a partnership. I was not the person who was running the business. I had an idea, shared with somebody who then I thought she could be reliable enough to pursue that dream and maybe create some revenue from doing that business. I believe that business never went more than a month. That business never went more than a month. It collapsed. I can also trace back some idea that I remember selling bananas back at home. These were unripe bananas which an individual would come back to my home and then buy the bananas. So if the individual was going to come and buy bananas, then there's that kind of bond you develop that maybe this is a relative, this is somebody who we know. She can take the bananas because she was a woman. She can take the bananas once once she sells those bananas, then she will come and pay me back. It never matured up to now. That woman has never come to where I am. She has never arrived to pay back the money. So I'm giving kind of a small background or an idea of how I came into business. It's something which I grew knowing it, but I was not aware that I can be an entrepreneur. So back here at the university, I started a business also. I invested like it was the year 2016, 2017 there. I invested like 20,000 Kenyan shillings. That's like $200. Maybe in those years they were exactly like $200. But because of inflation, then today it could be like $170 or $180. So that money I also invested in a given business. That business, within a short period of time, we never trusted with because the business required a lot of transaction. We never, I never trusted the person who we we did what we shared kind of ideas with. I never trusted the person. Then the business had to corrupt. I almost lost a lot of money. Those were a lot of money for an individual. First, you need to understand you are a student. You don't have any idea how the business is being run. At the same time, you have your own basic needs which you need to satisfy. And these basic needs you need to satisfy now, the man has gone. You can't maybe go back, or you can't dip back to the business and say, this is the money which I need to sustain myself with. So it really became a challenge for me. So now I had to kind of go back and surrender. Actually, it's kind of a surrender to this kind of entrepreneurial thing. You develop that, you develop that kind of not trusting people as such. You don't trust anybody. You kind of feel betrayed. You feel that the world has really turned and become unfair to you. So I believe within that period of time, I never entered into any entrepreneurial activity. But I believe, like in 2018, I had a friend of mine, and this friend of mine decided to. He had also a friend who was working where I go to the university. By that time, where I went to the university, so through this friend of mine, I joined him, and then kind of started assisting in some activity which I developed some passion of welding. I hired it because you could have now maybe the time which we had at in the evening, which was actually for loitering, which was actually for doing non-beneficial activities. It found its use, and there were some strikes which came into play. So I had much time which I was idle. So from this friend, after doing some welding, then I developed some kind of a connection to another individual. So this individual had kind of a business. He had a good business. So I decided to shift from doing welding and now going to sell things to talk with customers. So in talking with customers, and also learning one, two things, I had some kind of patience. I was satisfied with myself for what I was doing, and I had that mindset that if you want to work for somebody, you need then to ensure that you have worked the best you can, and ensure that at the same time you have to learn the best you can. This is an idea developed from after reading Robert Kiyosaki's book. So this is an idea developed after reading his book, The Rich Dad Poor Dad book. It's a great book. Every individual, if you want really to be financially literate or to have the basics of finance, then this is a book which you must read. That's the book of Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad. You just read that one book, then you're good to go. You're in a good kind of good environment which equips you with basic financial skills which can assist you to prosper as an individual. So after gaining some skills from Robert Kiyosaki's book, that if you want to work for somebody, then you need to work the best you can for them. At the same time, ensure that you learn the best you can from them. This is the mindset they are developed. So I was not that kind of a person who was hungry maybe to get rich quick. This was not my thing. For me, I believe from after giving my background, ideas, skills, all that kind of information, I was aware that with time, no matter what, I will always have that upper hand in making money. That's all I believe up to now. Even if I lose everything, I believe that I've been able to feed myself, to sustain myself, and the extra I can share with other people. So after realizing this old perspective that it's okay to begin afresh, not to begin actually afresh, it's okay to learn from somebody, to do a work for someone who you trust, who you believe in, who is also trusting in your potential. Then I worked really super hard. I had everything maybe I needed. My basic needs were catered for. I was making a living, I was making some savings. So I worked for a long period of time, after which I got a friend. I bought some small goods and gave them to sell on my behalf. So after selling these things on my behalf, I kind of made some idea of how to develop a lot of income. That's This is also the idea I read from Robert Kiyosaki, that you need to develop numerous number of sources of income if you really want to be financially free. So I had to think outside the box. I also requested a friend if he can find for me a house which will I can develop also a small shop of mine. So after asking a friend, and luckily within a short period of time, that friend came up and showed me that he had found a colleague. They were church members who was ready to sell a small kind of kibandaski. They use iron sheet to build here back in Africa. So we partnered with a friend, and then we bought that house. It was a hell running the business. Remember, you are a student, you are broke at the same time, and you don't have any idea of balancing between your classes and running the business. At the same time, you don't have enough financial capital to run that business. So it was a challenge, but we sustained through. And after getting out of school, we have taken like, but there is this period of Corona. I want to give you an old perspective of how patience really, or trusting the process, is not something which is that easy. So after doing what? The whole issue of Corona came in before finishing school. There were no one to sell to, no one was buying, no money circulating. So I had to close the small Kapandaski, and the owner was just counting rent. Imagine, so someone, the owner doesn't even want to understand the whole issue of rent. He remained, the rent was supposed to remain at the same bar. So that was really a difficult time. It was a difficult moment, but after which Corona was kind of relaxing the rules which had been put in place were relaxing. We decided to open again, and now I made an agreement with the owner in terms of rent. I was supposed to pay as I work, paying the rent of the remaining months, and at the same time paying the current rent. It really sucked. It took a lot of money, but thanks, we came out of it successfully. So for me, that has taught me a lot, and it has enabled me to think in a lot of ways that running a business is not something which is easy. And this whole idea of you need to develop kind of patience is easy said than done. Trusting the process is not for every individual. That's something which I've come to learn. Trusting the process is not for every person. You know, is so difficult to have that kind of trust or to believe in something which so I need so as I was saying, thanks I've seen somebody who is watching me live here. It's because of rain. I thought I should remove the camera from the rains. There are some rains which are here. So as I was saying, trusting the process is not something which is can be done easily. You need to develop a thick skin. You need to trust yourself. You need to crash and rise up again. That's something which you need to believe in. And business has given me what about rains? What about these rains? So business has taught me a lot, and it's because of through business I've come to realize that we shouldn't complicate things. We shouldn't complicate things. We should always try to live a decent life. Don't care about pleasing anybody. That's that can't take you anywhere. That can't take you anywhere, because once you start collapsing, start failing, then those you are pleasing, they will not be even be anywhere close to assisting you or even supporting you. They can't be there. So they can't be there supporting you. They can't be there supporting you as an individual. And that's why if you trust the process, everything which is going against you at some point it will work out. It will work out. Don't 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 ever think of just even giving up. It's not easy to do something which you as a person believes in but the society doesn't believe in. And at sometimes you can be wrong. You can totally be delusional, doing something which is unidealistic. So you need to understand the difference. You can be delusional, doing something which you are kind of hiding yourself from the hard work which is required for you to be successful. So you need to be careful in whichever thing you are doing. If you are doing anything which you believe cannot sustain you in the future, is not going anywhere, then stop being delusional. Stop being delusional. Do something which not everyone can believe you, but you will be at a safer side if you become successful. So I don't have anything to say, But for now, I believe I've kind of given a perspective on why it's so hard to trust the process to work and something which you believe in, but the society doesn't believe, and you also need to be realistic. So I believe I've given my own perspective on the point. At the same time, if you may be watching this video in late hours, later in the time, you can also give your honest comments, opinions. Maybe it's your honest, or maybe what you've heard from some people. Maybe it's a lie, even your lies, you can put them down there. So you need to give your opinions. Why is it so hard for individuals to trust the process? For instance, I as a person, that's it's of late when I've started convincing myself that yes, I can build YouTube as a platform or as a channel. I can build it and make an impact and a revenue at the same time from there. But it needs a lot of hard work, it needs patience, it needs perseverance, and work hard is something which is above all. So it's something which is not easy but is possible. So just comment below, why is it so difficult to trust the process? My name has been Monsieur Augustine. If you are here for the first time, just remember to subscribe. You can also share the video, and see you in my next one.